Staying in London, George, is it time for Big Ange to go? He's fighting with fans again, losing his head, another defeat. Ryan Sessegnon, who, spent more time on the injury table than playing games for you, bagged a winner yesterday, but another atrocious day for Spurs, 15th in the league. Talk to me, mate.
Are we surprised? I mean, going into that game, I don't think any Spurs fans or many Spurs fans would have predicted us to win the game. It was time for Ange to get sacked at minimum 4 weeks ago. It could have been done 2 months ago after the Everton game, to be honest. That I think for most people, the Everton and Leicester games were like, that's the nail in the coffin, should have been done after that. But yeah, again, the board never really know how to make right decisions. And here we are going into an international break. And I thought, you know what? If they lose this game, surely, I don't know, maybe some action gets taken today. You got 2 weeks to prepare. Go out there, bring someone else in. And we've got an international tie, a European Cup tie, where a new manager can come in and, start a new lease of life at Spurs in the right way. Clearly, the board's not seeing it that way. And like you said, Ange is losing his head. Slowly but surely, he's definitely losing his head. I think the behavior that he showed yesterday was, quite frankly, disgusting towards fans. And he's shown it quite a few times this season. I don't know who he thinks he is. It's away fans. Away fans are the one group of fans that you definitely can't get onto, because they travel up and down the country, spend their money, their hard-earned money, giving out all of their time. They're the loudest of fans. They're the ones that literally, when you sit there all game, you're hearing those group of fans that are bringing the opposition and those away games, scaring the upper opposition crowd, but also giving us that 12th man when it's needed. So, yeah, no, I didn't like his attitude, and it showed like the mentality of Spurs that. There was Matisse Tell, the guy on loan, not an employee of our club, a contractor, is the one that's going there, pushing him away, going, nah, Ange, calm down. Then he's the one going to the fans, say, oh, we're together, doing all of the talk and that, which I like, by the way. I like that a player comes and goes and speaks to the fans, because they're actually embracing what football is. That's what the European culture is, in Germany and France. They embrace that we answer to the fans mentality, whereas over here in England, they just think they're better than that for some reason. So all the clubs, their players, the managers don't feel the need to go and do that. So we obviously saw that play out as well. Thought that some of the fans, again, were just a bit too harsh, especially considering that he is a kid. But he showed some great character mentality there. But the game itself, I mean, played out exactly how you wanted it. For anyone that did watch, similar to the Arsenal game, it was extremely boring. You can tell there was a massive lack of quality, because there was just constant mistake, constant turnover. Tottenham didn't really build up and create many chances. Fulham had the best of the chances, and outside of, I couldn't really name you a good performance. I couldn't name you one. Like the setup again was just completely wrong. And surprising, he puts Archie Gray in the middle, and I was happy about that. But outside of that, then you look at the other midfielders, Rodrigo Bentancur and Bissouma. Why are you playing Bissouma in an advanced 8 role, expecting to give you something going forward? That's not his play. He's never been that player at Spurs. Maybe at Brighton you saw something, but he's so far off the level of the Premier League right now. He shouldn't be starting. He shouldn't be anywhere near the first team. But hey, man, look, Spurs are just that where they're at right now. The Spurs are just that where they're at right now, and I don't think that there's going to be any significant improvement going to the end of the season. So the only positives we can really focus on is just having our young players perform, the likes of Archie Gray, the likes of Bergvall, maybe Dane Scarlett getting a few minutes.
Tony here with the super chat says, if you sack Ange now, you'll do the whole Mourinho thing again, where you sack a manager just before a final, like you're really not far of Europa League.
We're 4 games off of getting to a final. That's a lot of games. That's 2 heavy
vibes.
Like, I really don't know what we're doing here. Like, there's so many. They've got to play Frankfurt. Frankfurt's a team that's challenging in their league, by the way, and they're probably one of the favorites in the competition. Then straight after that, if you do win, only if you go and play a team like Lazio, who again, they're competing in their league and they're definitely better than Tottenham right now. So to think that you're just a couple games away, no, you're not. You're a long way away from the final. And I'm all for sacking this manager at this point if it means bringing someone else in to have a better run.
Do you think sacking Ange is going to give you a better chance of winning that Europa, or it doesn't really matter?
better or not, I don't think that Ange is going to win us the Europa League. That's what I think. I think just seeing the tactics deployed in the last game, the AZ Alkmaar fixture, we got very lucky. If the team plays similar to the way that they did, which our performances only suggest that the performances aren't going to get better. We've had our players back now. The performance haven't least significantly improved. We just got lucky in that 3-1 win against AZ Alkmaar, as in we should have beat them in the first game. It shouldn't have been a question. But because we've done our job in the second game, it's like, oh yeah, Ange's doing no. Forget all that.
Are you only saying that because you want Ange out? Because I didn't watch the game. I didn't actually watch.
No. Tottenham. We were 2-0 up. We made it 2-1. They got a very lucky goal to get back into the fixture, but the whole point is that we give them too many chances. The whole problem has been with Tottenham tactically is every team has a go at us. And so when you go into a lot of these games, just like in the Fulham game, we give them chances. They score a goal. Ryan Sessegnon, Ryan Sessegnon scored a goal against us. He scored about 4 goals in his whole career at Spurs, but now returns against Tottenham. He put Ben Davies on the floor. So he put Ben Davies on the floor and then wraps it top bins. Like, are we having a laugh? Like,
George, I agree with you, and it's I've had a few Spurs fans call me out for this, but I feel I'm speaking the truth. I don't remember a team winning a European trophy of Europa League level or higher, where their team consistently leaks big chance after big chance after big chance in most games, even against sides they shouldn't be. Most of the teams that end up winning major European silverware do it by being hard to break down and hard to beat. If you think about it, it's Champions League, but I think the quality of team is in Chelsea was high. You think about Chelsea's 2 Champions League triumphs, hard to beat. You think about when Liverpool won Champions Leagues, hard. Everyone who wins Champions Leagues or Europa Leagues, Sevilla, who are kings of it, they're hard to beat. And when I look at Spurs, and maybe I'm speaking out of turn here, Henry, I look at your team and I just think sometimes it's a bit of a flip of a coin. Who's more clinical on the day? And you at some point, you're going to run out of luck.
Yeah, you're absolutely spot on. We give up way too many chances, and Vicario has to make 1, 2, or 3 top saves every single game to keep us in it. I mean, the system has got so many flaws in it, and unless we bring in a 6, we bring in a much better squad depth out wide and a more compact midfield that can actually protect the back 4 in the transition, we're just going round in circles. I mean, the Fulham game is not a surprise at all. It's 15 defeats. We're only 4 defeats away from equaling our worst season in the history of the football club. We still got to go to Chelsea away and Liverpool away. So there's 2 defeats right away. The way we're playing is, I mean, you've got players like Mickey van der Ven that are fully fit and for whatever reason aren't even playing when he's not being called up for international duty. So now he's just training for the next 18 days. James Maddison, exactly the same. Apparently Kulusevski, the injuries, well, if you believe what the ITK say, the injury is a little bit worse than expected. Our entire season is on Frankfurt. If we lose to Frankfurt, he should be sacked that night. He should have been sacked, in my opinion, months ago, before Christmas. But the club, as much as I can't stand this manager, the club haven't helped him anyway, because the narrative in December that we knew they had this injury crisis and we were going to back him, we bring in Matthias Tell, who's 19 years of age, trying to galvanise the fan base. This is when our leadership group, players like Son and Maddison and Romero, should be going over to the crowd and actually speaking to them. Not a player that's not even our player. Like George said, he's from Bayern Munich. He's on loan. He probably won't be here in the summer. And you got him in between Ange, Postecoglou and the fans. And the way that Ange is conducting himself, he's losing the plot. He looks like he's aged about 5 years, 10 years he's been the Tottenham manager.
I asked you this question, I think, a few weeks ago. I don't know if the answer's still the same, but how high up the table do you think this squad should be with the right man? Honestly,
a fully fit Tottenham squad is miles better than 14th. We should be anywhere between 5th and 8th.
5th.
Yeah, you can't tell me Bournemouth do not have a better squad than Spurs. Nottingham Forest do not have a better squad than Spurs. They're just better coached, and it's as simple as that. They are better coached. Look at what Eddie Howe's done to that team. They haven't got out and spent 4, 5, 6, 7, 800 million. They've just recruited well, and they're coached well, and they're very hard to beat. We are not. If you look at the heat map in so many games, our average position, our fullbacks are higher than our midfielders. He takes one ball over the top. Van der Ven's doing 15, 20 sprints a game, and that's why his hamstring's gone twice.
There's no the right man. You're the 5th best team in this league. That's what you're saying.
Maybe I'm not anywhere between.
5th to 8th. Give him. He's got
Okay.
a Tottenham hat on Kunle. 5th to 8th. He's got a
Kunle, I just say we let Henry just keep speaking about.
I look at this right now.
Yeah.
Bournemouth have had, when we played Bournemouth and they beat us 1-0, they had 11 injuries. But I didn't hear that, excuses coming out galore that, Bournemouth are not expected to get a win today. Our away record, we've won 5 away games in the Premier League. We've won 5 home games in the Premier League. We've got 29% win rate. There's no defending that. And what's the excuse now? Because he's got all of his players back. Van der Ven was fully fit. Maddison was fully fit. Romero played. It's absolutely shambolic. The recruitment in this football club is some of the worst I've seen. We brought in Kingsky, who now is probably never going to play a game while Vicario is fit. So what was the point in signing him? We've got 5 goalkeepers on our payroll. We brought in Tell, who we still haven't brought a number 6 in. We've got Archie Gray, who's the closest thing. And because of the injuries, he spent most of his Tottenham career at centre-back. The injuries are unexpected, but some of these injuries are because we're so gung-ho for 90 minutes. It's no coincidence Danzo comes in, who hasn't had an injury in 2 years, and 10 games later does his hamstring. That is not coincidental. That is part of the system. We are so easy. There's a blueprint out there. Sit back and counter-attack. And we have no counter to that. We haven't got a midfielder that can get on the ball, create and dictate play. Bentancur looks a shadow of himself 3 years ago. Bissouma, I don't know what the Bissouma we've got right now, because that isn't the Bissouma that was playing at Brighton, right? You've got players like Sarr, who's one of the only midfielders I actually like and I trust, but he hasn't been that great. Destiny Udogie hasn't put in a good performance practically all season. Pedro Porro and Kulu have been running to the ground, and you're now seeing that. And Jed Spence, Jed Spence, Bergvall and Gray are the shining lights of this season. Solanke hasn't got a goal in 8 games. We don't create enough chances for Solanke. There's so many problems. You can't tell me that if another manager come in, we would be this bad. We don't have bad players. Our system is just, we're like a donut. We've got absolutely zero middle. As soon as you get through, that's it. There's nothing about this team. And
I don't think you've got good players, though.
Sorry?
I don't think you've got good players at this point, no. If we're
but
being
they're not
entirely
awful
honest.
players, Tom.
They're not awful. They're not 14th, but I look at the likes of... So Heung-min Son is your highest paid player, and I said at the start of the season that I thought he was going to have an off year, and for the most part he has done. He's not looked great. And then you look at the fact that Solanke's not getting the chances, and then you look at the fact that Kulusevski, if Kulusevski's not on the team, you're not going to score goals. And then you look at the manager, and it's all one interconnected thing, which basically points to the fact of the players that you've bought, or the manager wants to play a system that relies on players performing every game, and Tottenham players do not perform every game. That has been one thing that has always been consistent when you've had the great players or when you've not. Tottenham players do not perform every game. Ange's system is pretty much entirely built on outscoring opposition. I'm sure there's a quote out there from him where along the lines of, I would rather win 5-4 than 1-0. 100% in his lifetime, Ange Postecoglou said something like that. He would rather win 6-5 than 1-0.
Tom, can I interject on one thing, though? I get where you're coming from here, but this is exactly Henry and I think George's point. And let's see if I'm right or wrong as an outsider. They don't have the squad to play how Ange wants. Thus, they're sitting 15th, 14th, 15th in the league because he's operating with a team that you probably need a squad of Liverpool, Arsenal, or City's level to get you need one of the best squads in the league to be able to make it work. He doesn't. What they need is a manager that understands this and knows, you know what? When we're away at Fulham, who are a very good attacking team, we've got to be more compact. We've got to be harder to beat. We've got to be harder to break down. Okay, we're at home against Ipswich. This is where I know you lost to them, but that's where you should be attacking as an example.
What Eddie Howe's been doing for the last however long. Eddie Howe approaches different games differently. You don't really know what to expect from Newcastle, if they're going to come out of the half and attack you or they're going to come and defend you, but they can blitz teams or sometimes they get blitzed themselves. But one thing that is clear is that team has structure and adaptability, and they've got a manager that's willing to work within the means. And sometimes they don't have Botman, but they got Shah, and they managed to get a good performance out of Shah. because he coaches well. I just think one of the biggest problems with Tottenham, not just with Ange, but you look at these other coaching staff, is so much inexperience there. There's so much lack of tactical nous, and you're just not surprised, innit? You're not surprised when you look at Tottenham. The patterns of play going forward are so easy to break down because they're very similar. And like Henry said, we don't create for the striker. So if you're only creating for the wingers, it's very easy to mark the striker out of the game. And if there's no one in the box to receive the ball, then what are your wingers going to do ultimately? So I just feel like with the biggest issues with Ange is the structure and the way that we set up. So when you talk about the level of the squad, it's slightly irrelevant because any manager can come in who's got a good tactical or even a good coach, I should say, will come in and make this team a lot better than what they are right now.
Yeah, the
Marco
fact
What's going to
that
happen this season, though, is it?
Sorry, go on,
Why
Tom.
not?
The manager, if any manager comes in now, I don't think they're going to have the desired impact this season. No, I think it's too late this season.
In the Premier League,
Is the Europa League, Tom. A new
Tom,
manager.
Tom,